Ever heard of crypto mixers? These are the services that enhance transaction privacy by pooling and mixing multiple users' funds and redistributing them.
Privacy is important in different elements to different people.
Crypto mixers are not new. First Bitcoin mixer started in 2011 as a way for cypherpunk communities to obscure their transaction trails.
And the whole point of crypto in general was freedom.
In this video, Ankit and JD, who is building KASPA'S first mixer, had an intriguing conversation about privacy.
People always try to think of like the bad things that come along with like privacy. And some people are just like, you can't have my phone number.
By the end of the video, you will learn how to use KASPA Mixer version 1, version 2, along with a broader vision for KASPA Funding with their community center in New York, accessible to everyone from the community.
Welcome to XXIM Podcast, your home of decentralization. Today, I'm here with JD. JD is from KASPA Funding, and today we're going to be discussing KASPA Mixer, an exciting project from KASPA Funding.
Good morning. How are you today?
Good. Thanks, JD. Thanks for being here. So, JD, let's start from KASPA Funding itself. What is the mission statement for KASPA Funding?
So our big thing is actually, our mission statement is pretty much community is everything.
Right.
And our goals are pretty simple. It's just to do what we can for the community with the community. And that's been our goal since it's been like 2.5 years now of just like doing things with the community and for the community as best as we can.
So who runs KASPA Funding? Is this yourself or are there a bunch of volunteers that are running it?
So it's the community. So I proposed the idea of like mining to help sustain the ecosystem.
Right.
And it just grew from there. So it's evolved over time into different aspects and different people popping in and helping and leave. You know how it goes. People pop in, they help, they go, they come, they go. And that's the best thing about it is because we're supposed to be decentralized. So in KASPA, if we have people who just volunteer and help and continue to build out things, it works perfect. So there's really no like head person and this or that. Like, it's weird because like I took on the brunt of stuff because like someone has to. And that's the weird thing about, running the project or trying to do something different, you know?
JD, I was going to ask, I think you've got a KASPA t-shirt that you got there, right? Oh, is it KASPA Funding? Sorry, yeah, okay.
Yeah,
right,
so
that's cool.
We held last year for the anniversary of KASPA. We did it in Miami at the Moxie, and pretty much it was a giant meetup for anyone in KASPA, KRC 20, anyone just in the space to come hang out, talk, network. Met a lot of cool people, a lot of we have a group chat with a bunch of people, and we call it the Miami OGs because like we all met in Miami, and that was the first introduction of us in real life.
That's awesome. And you know, as you mentioned, you've been around KASPA community. You were a moderator. It was a Discord.
For Discord.
Discord, right?
Yeah.
So where did this idea KASPA Mixer came from, and why? Like, have you built within KASPA Funding or funded other projects other than KASPA Mixer?
So we built a few things. Like right now, I'm sitting in the community center, which is something we signed the lease for 5 years last year, and we wanted to give people in KASPA just a place. So we actually have a place now for
so this is a community center that anyone who's in KASPA can go to?
Normally when people do like meetings and hosting and events and so forth, you have to go rent the space,
Yeah.
pay the hosting, pay for the food, yada, 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 so on and so forth. So we decided, we were like, let's get a place. That way we're in New York. If anyone ever wants to host the event, we can, figure out the cost, whatever. And we have it. We have access to 240. So like if someone wants to showcase miners, they can do that here. Like, so that's one of the things we did.
That's amazing. That's amazing, JD. I don't know if many people are aware of it, but I'm sure after listening to this and hearing this, I think it'll broadcast a message to anyone who is going to New York or out of New York or based out of there, right? They can access this community center, get in touch with yourself and other members, right? And perhaps find out the process.
Yeah, it's like I said, we didn't do like a big, like, what the best way to go about, like, what's monetizing it, because like
Sure.
that wasn't the point of this place,
Right?
We're about to enter the second year of our lease, and I paid the first year upfront. It was $22,000 for the first year.
VCs are expensive.
So I covered that. We did a couple small things for like the community itself. Like we held some like little events because we didn't publicly open.
Yeah.
Because we don't know the best way to go about it. So we're hoping the more and more community members that get involved or say, hey, let's do this. We can do this for KASPA. We could do it this way. Products like KasPay that just popped out, I think that's awesome. There's ways we can utilize that in here and show kids, hey, this is how KASPA works. Because there's a lot that we've done and like behind the scenes, and a lot of the people who work in our community, they don't care about recognition. They don't care about any of that stuff. We care about what can we do to show people what KASPA is. And how to free people. So that's been a big proponent of what we've been doing.
Yeah. And that's exactly what matters, right? In decentralized communities, each and every one of us can do whatever we can to spread the message, right? And I think that's why this decentralization truly, really shines, right? Where you don't have one person whose job is to go out and tell the world about the product they're working on. Each and everyone who's a holder of KASPA can go out and tell the world, right? And I think that's why I personally love the decentralization aspect of it. So let's move on to KasPaMixer. Why you guys decided to build it?
So it's simple. We listen to Blockchain Banter like almost every week. I can't remember who it was. It might have been Lavendi. It might have been Chris. And one of them was like, are we ever going to have a mixer? Like, and we were just like, all right, I guess we can, if no one else is going to start doing that, let's see if we can figure it out, Right. And it's a really complicated thing to do because it's UTXO, so everything's public. So finding a method to enhance privacy is a little tricky. And my background is I'm not a coder I'm a communications and a marketing guy. Around too many developers, so now I'm picking up tricks and learning how to do certain things, and they'll be like, here's this code. If you do this. So it's been a lot of just like back and forth with a lot of cool people in the community that care, and that's what makes me happy.
So for people that are not aware of mixers, tumblers, right? Let's go into the details of how the process has evolved. It's the first KASPA'S tumbler mixer, but I think they've been around for a long time, right? This is not the first concept. So let's get into it. What are the tumblers? What are the crypto mixers?
The general purpose of a mixer is to obfuscate your transaction. In theory, what happens is if you have multiple inputs coming from one place into a pool and then going to a destination, it makes it harder to say, hey, this input came from here. And it's going to this user directly. It's just a way of blending the transactions.
Right. So you break the on-chain link between the sender and receiver. That's like one way to put it, right?
Yeah, that's the simple way to put it. It's to help to remove the initial.
Yeah.
And that's where, as we talked about earlier, it gets really tricky because when we have a public ledger, it becomes, because you can see every transaction, you can see where everything's going. However, first off, an address has to be known. So if an address is known, for example, say we have some address marked, like we know, we're like, this is this wallet.
Yeah.
This has been marked as
Exchange
the burn address.
Yeah, or burn address.
Yeah.
Exchange wallet.
So if you see anything coming from there, since it's already known, you know where it's going, but you don't know who it's going to unless that address is determined to be, oh, this person is this person, and it keeps sending back and forth to the same place. So there's a few things about how to privatize that information.
Right.
And there's little things like not using the same address over and over and over and over and over.
Yeah.
That's why, like, when you use the mixer, for example, it generates a new address for you. Yeah. Every single time it's a fresh address. So that's one step. That's like the beginning stages of teaching how to break the transitional link.
For the KASPA mixer, right? This is going to be a non-custodial open source mixer. Because I think there are some different variations of mixers out there, right? There are centralized mixers, and then there are non-custodial mixers that got developed, right? And I want to get into like a few different mixers that have had controversial takes in the past, right? I.e., Tornado Cash that comes to mind first. So, what type of mixer you guys are building?
So it's funny. We're building a suite of them.
Okay,
if you notice, we had the original mixer. Now we have the KasJoin mixer. The current KasJoin there's a point where it touches a centralized wallet and then moves like instantaneously. But we're trying to now work on removing that reliance to make it truly non-custodial. And that's the thing. The whole point of the mixers is to continually to evolve. We need to teach people how mixers work. Right. And if you have different multiple variations of it, it teaches people, hey, this is how this works. This is how this works.
I see.
And that's the approach we've been taking is what can we build? When can we build it? And how can we slowly show people, hey, this is how you can utilize and use. And it's like a way of teaching and showing at the same time.
Yeah. And especially for a community that's new to these technologies, right? I think, if you've been around Bitcoin or Ethereum, you probably have heard of mixers. And it's not something that everyone will use. I don't think that mixers are for everyone. It's for a certain type of user that you want to protect their privacy or, want to think about, other things, other applications.
For me, the way I view it is people always try to think of like the bad things that come along with like
100%.
privacy.
Yeah.
And I think the important thing is most people who use DEXs and non-KYC form exchanges.
Yeah.
That's the people who are more likely to use a mixer or a coin join or something of that effect. And it's like you say, it's not something that everyone's going to use. Some people just don't care. You know what I mean? There are people who will be like, yeah, this is my phone number. Here's my email. Here's my address. And some people are just like, you can't have my phone number. No, you can't have my email. And it's privacy is important in different elements to different people.
So I wanted to read this quote actually. I think it was from Coinbearer. They said, privacy advocates call CoinMixer a necessary tool for protecting anonymity, right? So that's one. Government officials call CoinMixer's tool for money laundering. That's their definition, right? Yet billions in crypto have changed hands using CoinMixers. I thought it's a very good way to sum it up, like, for different perspectives, how when you talk about CoinMixers.
What's really funny is like, so to go on, so if you know, one was from a private sector and one's from the government.
Government sector, yeah.
The government sector is like, yeah, we know this bad stuff is going to happen, versus because they lose control. It's the same thing with census and doing census. If they have the information, they know everything.
Yeah.
And the whole point of crypto in general was freedom. So if from the start of Bitcoin, and the premise being peer-to-peer freedom, no control of, no one controls your assets. You control your assets. Wouldn't you want to be be able to privately control your assets as well. People always talk about money laundering with mixers and this. And people are going to do bad things. They're going to do bad things anyway.
Yeah.
The most one of the most used assets in the world for laundering is the US dollar. Like it's like because it's outside of the fact that there's a print number on it, serial number or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Like a dollar is still a dollar. If it's exchanged for something bad, it's exchanged for something bad. If it's exchanged for something good, it's exchanged for something good. It's like the tale of like the user. The user's going to do with information what they're going to do.
Yeah. And it's the same thing, right? Like I think everyone said about crypto. I think now we are talking about legalizing crypto. The nation states treasuries with crypto, with Bitcoin, right? States treasuries.
You have countries now.
Countries, states that are actually as companies, right? Like it's a big thing now in 2025. Really, until even end of last year, everyone was talking about. Some countries actually made illegal to hold the assets. Now we are on the opposite trajectory here, where people are actually not just people, like these powerful entities are talking about holding it on the balance sheets, right? So I do hear you, and I do see that it's just another evolution of the blockchain ethos.
It's the way I always think of it is like, for example, when people think hacker, right?
Yeah,
they think bad, but they don't think there's white hackers and there's normal. You know what I mean? There are people who are who literally their job is how to make sure that this is not penetrated or affects other people. And so people automatically, the term is automatically bad. And that's like crypto. When people, for a long time, when people heard Bitcoin or crypto, they're like, oh no, I'm not touching that scam. That's and I've been in crypto for a long time. That's the first, and I'm just like, you don't understand what it is. And I've explained to so many people how it works, show them, they're like, oh, this makes sense. I was like, yeah, but you have to do your own research. You can't listen to it's like watching one variation of a news story. That's that person's that perception.
Yeah.
And their bias. You have to listen to all the stories and then come to your own conclusion. That's the only way to do.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Decide for yourself, do your own research, decide for yourself, right? No one should push a narrative on you. You should be able to build your own narrative. Just perhaps moving on, right? Would you be able to share the demo with us so we can actually go through how to use the tool?
This is the first version. This is the first iteration of what was thought up. And the code was provided from a community member who gave us a payment splitter. And we're like, oh, this is cool. And they're like, yeah, see what you can do with it, the best way you can utilize it. And this is where that code evolved to.
Ah, I see. So can we just go through one transaction? That'll be great to see actually how to use it. And then I can perhaps ask you some questions as well along the way.
So first, like, you have to decide, hey, how much am I going to send?
Let's put 2 coins, 2 KASPA'S.
All right. So you set your amount. Right. You have to have a destination wallet. So the destination wallet is essentially where you want to send those funds.
Wait, I didn't ask you. Did you connect the wallet, right? I'm assuming that's the case, right? You have to connect your wallet. And
so I downloaded the wallet earlier, but I'm not at my home, so I don't actually have a wallet installed with KASPA. So I'll send some over in a second.
Sure.
So what I actually need, which is actually important, is I need a random address. So if you want to drop a random address, I can use that, or I can just make a random one and
make a random.
It doesn't matter.
Let's make a random one, yeah.
So you have to set a destination wallet, which I'll use.
Wait, there are 2 destination wallets? 3.
You can set as many destination wallets up to 3.
Okay, so this is the actual wallet where I want to send it to, right? That's what the definition of a destination wallet is?
Yes. So the definition of destination wallet is whatever wallet you want it to end up in.
Okay, right. Got it.
So you add those destination wallets, right?
Yeah.
and you click Start Mixing.
Oh, you put the amount, the percentages also. So you put 34, 34, 34, something like that, right? 33, 33, 33 on the side.
So it does it automatically. Here, let me.
Oh, it does it. It does it automatically, right?
So, and if you look, you get, you'll see there's an address right here, a deposit address.
So this is the deposit coming from, and then we already said the destination before. Cool.
So what you have to do now is, since that's the address where you want to send the funds, you have to utilize the address there. And if you look at the bottom, you'll see where it says session ID. That's your confirmation of your mix that you're attempting to do. Just in case there's an issue where, it crashes or it gets stuck. Cause as you know, we're still in beta. So we're still working through some kinks.
Okay.
So that's the, a protective measure.
Mm-hmm.
If you notice, it says deposit received, sent to immediate. Cause I just sent the transaction.
Oh, you send the, I see. Okay. Right. So it's just going through it one by one, right?
What it does is you have your destination wallet where you want to send coins.
Mm-hmm.
You're provided an address from the mixer to make your deposit.
Mm-hmm.
It's a one-time address. It's never used again. So when you make the transaction, what it does is it sends to that address and it hops around to a couple other generated KASPA addresses, and then it reaches the destination.
Wait, so it does generate some random KASPA addresses?
Yes.
So what it's doing in the background is just trying to create a few different addresses, hops around, and then it lands to the destination wallet.
Correct.
Right. Okay. So that's what you call mixing. So this is the first iteration. It seems like the simpler version, right? That's why it's version 1.
Yes. So this version is more about allowing people to send to multiple destination wallets, because when you want to send funds, you have to go, all right, I'm going to send 1 KASPA to this address, 2 KASPA to this address, and then 3 to this other address.
Mm-hmm.
This way, instead of having to manually select one address and then another address and another address, this allows you to send to multiple addresses at once. And if you see now, it says mix successful. If we open our Casware,
you, I believe, sent 5.9 KASPA.
I sent 6, and then the TX fee, the transaction fee, is taken out. So if you notice, we received 5.999799999.
I can't see that screen. I think KasPair, if you're showing it, it's not visible on the screen. But that's, we can see it. We can assume what you're saying.
But what I can do is, let's take a screenshot. There you go. If you create a brand new address, right? Boom, you just made a new address and you load it with KASPA, right? From that point, if you start using the mixer and you never reuse the same address, there's no way to link back to the original if you don't continue to use the original.
I see. I get it. Right. So that's cool. So it really hides the original address that you created. So that's the version 1. What are you guys doing on version 2 now, which is KasJoin, right? So that's the version you guys just launched.
Yes. So I'll load that up. Now, this version is a little different. What this version does is, if you notice, it says the current pool is 200. There's 2 active entries.
Well, what does that mean, current pool and active entries?
So what it does is it does it in batches. You need 20 participants to start the process of the mix. So essentially what happens is user A sends to a generated address from the mixer. The mixer then sends it to a pooled address. So all these transactions will end up in a pooled address. Then when all 20 users batch, it will process from the pool amount, the exact amount to each user from one input. It looks as one output.
I see. So that's why you call it KasJoin. So you joining between those 20 individuals of wallets that can all deposit to the pool, which will add up to 4,000 KAS between 20 people, 20 wallets. And then what is the process of tumbling? Like, because this seems more of a tumbler, right? You're mixing between different wallets.
So it's not mixing between different wallets. So what's happening is drop this. So I'll walk through it.
Sure.
So I'm going to start a join, and the same way as before, you get an address.
But wait, didn't you say? Sorry, JD. Didn't you say you needed to have 20 people? We have only 2 people, right, so far.
Yep.
So you can't actually use it at this stage, this mixer.
I can technically trigger it off. Like, that's the thing. I could do it. It doesn't need 20 individual people. It just needs 20 inputs.
20 inputs. I see. So you can deposit 20 inputs from the same wallet or from different wallets, 20 different wallets.
So you could do it. So say I wanted to move to a batch into 20 different wallets, right? You can do it from one address to 20 different destination wallets, right? It'll position a post from one main address. Premise behind it is like, you don't know if one person did 1, if one person did 20, if one person did, you know what I mean?
Oh, I see. So one single person can also do can be the 20, can put the entire amount as a batch, but they will go as a pool of 200 at a time.
It will go as a pool of 99 point.
Okay, right.
Whatever,
something like
minus the fee.
I see. Yeah. I see. So even it doesn't need to have 20 different individual / wallets. Even one wallet can actually create a pool themselves.
Yes.
Okay. Right. Got it.
So that's the way version 2 works. We're currently working on version 3, which is similar to this concept. Right. Now the difference is there's the middle point where you have the pool is being held by a controller. We're trying to completely do it where you batch and then you sign as one, and then it happens. Cause, a community member, one of the devs actually said, why don't you look at it doing it this way? And I was like, okay, I don't know if that's possible yet. Cause the way we were looking at it is like, what we're waiting for is ZK, and we're waiting for L2 layers so we can add all kinds of other different functionalities, you know?
Right.
And as things evolve, everything evolves with it, you know? And we're just doing our best to like give multiple options and multiple different versions, and people are going to utilize them different ways. For example, the way I love to use the variation 1 is I have 2 kids. I always like to go, all right, this will go to my main wallet, this will go to my kid's wallet, and this will go to my other kid's wallet. I don't have to go, all right, send KASPA to one kid and then send KASPA to the second kid. It's a clean way of just being like, here's transactions for your savings for later on in life.
I think these are very cool, and I love the way you guys have designed version 1, version 2. As the layer 2s come on KASPA with smart contracts, I think you'll be able to do a lot more.
So there's the interesting thing is, if the main dev team were talking about doing ZKs and adding ZK to KASPA itself,
ZK opcodes, yeah.
And if that occurs, ZK Snark is one of those
exactly
those elements we can utilize. So it all comes down to like what happens to the main and what happens to the main chain.
Tornado Cash uses ZK snarks. And most of them actually use the ones on the EVM.
There's a big difference between because remember, Ethereum doesn't use a UXTO.
No, that's true.
So it's like a fun puzzle of figuring out the best way to do it. How can we do it? And it's an evolving thing. And as the community says, hey, let's try this. There's this option. Why don't we do this? That's how we're building it. You know what I mean? And a lot of people answer, they're like, well, why is the source code not public? When is it going to be public? And we're like, it's going to be. But first, let's get the base set safely. Because if we don't have if we release something, we're like, here's the code, and there's like one little error, and I don't want anything to affect anyone negatively.
Yeah, or someone exploits it, right? Like, that's perhaps a bigger issue, right? If someone finds out some exploits, and starts to hack
Exactly.
the system.
Where we go back to, we have good hackers and we have bad hackers. You know what I mean? Like, so that's pretty much it. What we're trying to have fun with something, give the community something, and then once we feel that we can release it, the code for everyone to do whatever they want and build whatever they want. I don't care if there's 5,000 mixers. It's better if there's 5,000 mixers, to be honest. You know what I mean? But if it's about just starting something, because sometimes you need to see something start for others to follow suit. And like I said, my natural background is not coding. So I know there's much more skilled developers who will be like, hey, well, that's a good approach. This is how I would build it, and then build a variation of it. And that's all it takes sometimes, you know?
I wanted to ask you just quickly on the business model, like how the fees you guys going to be collecting, right? 0.01% on the mixing side. Do you have any mechanism built in for to reward your KASPA funding team, the community, not the team, the community? Like, what is the plan there?
We were discussing the best ways to utilize how
the fees, right?
The fees go there.
Yeah.
There's fund token. We were like, we can do a buyback where we just use that to buy back fund.
Yeah.
And then little things. I know some of it's going to have to go to like holding up the cost for actually running all the servers. And then like, as I told you, we have a community center, which every month we have to pay, starting in August when our lease renews, we have to pay $2,100. So like little things like that might be ways to offset the cost for certain things that are literally going back to the community. So
the community,
there's no, we're not trying to make any money. You know what I mean? We're trying to give a product for the community to use and then utilize the fees from that to give the community more things.
I just want to wrap this up now. Like, I guess from my perspective, I would say to anyone who's in New York who wants to host events for KASPA, you know, contact you through X, contact you through Telegram, obviously help you guys any way possible to build the community further, right? KASPA funding community.
And it doesn't even have to be from New York. If you're anywhere in KASPA and you want to hold an event and say you wanted to hold it somewhere and they're like, well, because for example, when we held the event in Miami, it was 20-something thousand before we started doing anything. So I think the Miami event cost us like $40,000.
Yeah.
In final.
Yeah.
So if you want to hold an event and I think this place can hold easily 150 people.
Right. So it's a big place. Yeah.
We'll figure it out.
All right.
Thousand thoughts.
Yeah.
KASPA's great. Decentralization is great. People helping other people help other people is what the world should be about.
Yeah. That's
my
beautiful.
That's my thoughts.
Beautiful. JD, thank you so much for coming on the show.